Hi, my name is Eric Kinsey. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you're listening to Rulers and Riders, the podcast where we talk to creative people about what they do and what they ride. This week on the show, my guest is Christian Resiak. He is the proprietor of Howl Supply Company here in Indianapolis. Christian makes these really nice hand-stitched leather bags and some other accessories, and he's a he's a pretty interesting guy. I knew of him around town, but I had never really met him in person. We kind of communicated back and forth on Instagram, and we had a lot of mutual friends. And I needed a guest, and he was on my list, so I hit him up, and he said, "Yeah, sure, come on over." I went over to his shop, which is a really cool old red brick building, kind of between Fountain Square and downtown Indianapolis. It's been there forever, just a real unique location, and he's got it filled with these really great old hand-painted photographs, as well as some other cool taxidermy and stuff. And I took a lot of pictures, and I'll post all that on the blog. Really super interesting dude. I kind of didn't know what to expect. I thought we were just going to kind of talk about leather bags and motorcycles, and that was about it. But we got into a lot of other stuff, and after the recording was off, ended up hanging out and talking about all kinds of myriad of stuff for about an hour. Cool dude, really good chat. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's talk to Christian. So, last fall when I started, there were like 4 other motorcycle-oriented podcasts, and they just all came out at the same time, and I was like, fuck. So, a couple of them have fallen off.
Yeah. Was it Riders on the Norm and Danger Dan's like the only...
Yeah, they're like the only two out there now. And I don't have anything against those guys. I don't know them.
Totally.
I don't even listen to the show.
Yeah.
Because I remember like reading some interview with Ronnie James Dio and Hit Parader when I was like in junior high or something. And he said, yeah, I don't listen to metal. I only listen to classical music because I don't want to get anybody else's ideas into my music.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a rule. I'm like, I follow them, but just to see who they're talking to, but I don't listen to them. And I mean, from what I gather, like my format's just a bit different because it focuses on creative people that ride. But
I love it because it's Midwest, and like,
yeah,
I'm like Midwest fucking proud, you know. So like, to see something happening that doesn't pull you away is just like the best, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you see this shit in California, New York, you know, down south, like so many people doing shit, and then like we're kind of left in the dust. So it's nice to have like it be brought to light, you know?
Yeah, and that's kind of my beat, man. Is like I try to like really focus on people that are not getting covered either in print or on podcasts. So I mean, you notice like I talk to a lot of people overseas. I mean, I try to like I have this kind of blend that I do where I like, I mean, I don't, it's not like a, I hate to sound like an asshole, but I try to keep it like diverse.
Totally.
You know? Like I try to like.
Of course.
I don't want it to be like every other, you know, goofy dude, you know, wearing a pair of Vans
that you've heard 18 fucking times. You know, like yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I try to really like focus on like creative people, and probably it's maybe like 65% more about creativity than it is about motorcycles or hot rods or whatever. But I mean, everybody does have like a unique story, and that's kind of my thing. It's just like I want to, you know, cover that.
Well, you know, I think that for you to fucking ride a chopper, you have to be creative, you know, or else. I mean, really, because whether it's machining or anything like that, it's like you have to have some sort of fucking eye,
right?
You know, for what you want. You know, you can't just fucking make a shifter knob and be like, oh, that's like, there's creativity that goes into that. You can make the fucking coolest, you know, shifter knob. You know,
right? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think for like creative people, it's like another canvas.
Yeah.
You know, like it's another blank sheet of paper. It's another, you know, block of wood or stone or whatever. And I think that's what makes it interesting. And I'm not going to say like creative people have the coolest bikes or cars or whatever, but some of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them, man, some of those fucking Japanese dudes.
Insane, dude.
Oh my God.
Every morning when I take my morning poop, I'm on Instagram, right? And I'm just looking at fucking chopper shit. And like my fiance will like hear me and I'm yelling. I'm like, how the fuck do they have this? You know, like they have like the sickest fucking flathead choppers. It's like, how much did you pay to ship this fucking thing over there?
I know, dude.
It's stupid. It's like,
I know.
It's insane. I mean, Ichiro is like the fucking man.
You want to hear fucking something bizarre about Ichiro? So he has two 37 ULHs. Two. In 1937, they made 1,541 of that model.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the production number, in my book anyway. But I mean, even if it's double or triple that, I mean, that's a pretty low production run. And the fact that he has two of them, he has one in Japan, and he has one here. And, yeah.
I love how fucking American he is.
Oh, he's the best.
He's like, and he comes in here all the time, and like, I don't know him that well, but every time he comes in here, I try to like break that barrier just a little bit more, you know, because I feel like I'm kind of personable. Yeah. And it's funny that, you know, you can tell that I don't want to say like language barrier, but just like mannerism barrier between the both of us. He just kind of like keeps to himself, and I'm like, dude, you are fucking way cooler than anybody else I've ever met. You drive a fucking old Dodge. You fucking wear like gnarly fucking Made in America boots, salvage denim, and fucking have two like ridiculously sick bikes.
He's got he's building a panhead chopper now, and like it's a fucking like when he gets it done, it'll be fucking sick. Yeah. It's like the most sick psychedelic 70s panhead you'll ever see. He's got a flathead, like a KH. Another chopper that he's just never done much with. He's got a VLH, which I found at a swap meet in Michigan like 2 years ago, and he got a pretty good price on it. I think he paid about the same for the whole VLH bike as he did just for his knuckle motor. The knuckle, he got he bought it on eBay, like a buy it now, like it popped up, and he's just like, oh, he had the money. Yeah. Bought it now. And then he's called his mom. He's like, Mommy, I don't have any more money. Guy bought this. She was like mad. So she helped him out. But the guy that bought it found a whole knucklehead in a field in Pennsylvania. And he just pulled it out. And then he took it to like a tractor show in West Virginia, and a guy just saw it and he knew what it was, so he just bought it. He's like, there must be some parts I can, you know, use or sell. So the frame was just too far gone, the wheels, everything was too far gone. except for the motor. And so he bought the motor, he took it home, and he put it in a vat of kerosene. And he just left it for a year. Just didn't touch it.
Yeah.
Just left it in a vat of kerosene. So he fucking pulled it out, and like, it just started pulling apart. Like the screws came apart, everything. Like it just soaked enough. So he took it apart and put it back together and then sold it, and then Ichiro bought it. Now he fucking rides it all the time, dude.
All the time.
Yeah.
Middle of fucking winter.
Yeah, all the time.
Throws on that fucking parka and he goes.
Yeah.
That dude's gnarly.
Yeah, so kind of like, so what's your story? So where were you born?
I was born in LaPorte County, Indiana.
Oh yeah, Amish country.
Yeah, I'm from like the Michigan City area. Grew up, my 2 blocks in front of my house was Lake Michigan, and my backyard butted up to like an acre of land, and then we call it Moon Valley, which is part of the sand dunes. So we used to like sand sled and have a fucking good old time. But moved down to Indy. Well, not Indy. Rat Child would call me out if I said Indy. It's funny because I was listening to her episode. I moved to Noblesville, and in middle school, Dad moved his office down here. Mom relocated. Good old Hamilton County, which is the absolute worst. I went to high school there, and then kind of bailed as quick as I could.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like an unconventional bail because I was a fucking douche. Like, stereotypical Hamilton County, like, Morse Reservoir brat,
Yeah.
Like, and, my dad was former military. It kind of still is now, but contractor work. But, the goal in Hamilton County is, you go to school, go to college, buy the biggest house that you can, buy a boat, have kids. And like, I was like, no way. When I was 16, I worked for a retailer and, tried to go to college, moved up to Lafayette, but progressed with that retailer, and I was with them for a lot of years. In Lafayette, I would, never go to class, work, sell my Adderall and weed. And, that's where I kind of like learned, like, I don't know, not to give a fuck about anything.
Yeah.
And, from Lafayette, moved to Peoria, Illinois. A lot of my buds live there. Turned 21 in Peoria. So I guess it's kind of like whoever you're with when, you're 21 is like a milestone of, and they'll always be my buds,
Right.
And then after Illinois, I moved up to South Dakota. I was there for 3 years.
Jeez, man.
With this retailer I was with. And then not the good part of South Dakota either. The East River, which is boring, the worst. And then I moved. I was there for 3 years, and then that was 4 years ago. So what was that? 2013, and then 2014. At the beginning of the year, I was like, well, why not go back to Indianapolis? And I was trying to decide whether I'm just going to move up to Chicago or move to Indianapolis. And I'd been since 2008 since I had been in Indy, and I came to visit my folks again, trying to decide where to move, and I saw how the city has changed, and I was like, fuck Chicago, I can go there. I want to be, part of Indianapolis. So came back here 4 years ago.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. Like, when I moved here in 90, there just wasn't much going on. Like, there were like 2 kind of cool bars downtown, or 3 really. There was Chatterbox, Old Point, and a place called The Cozy, which was probably smaller than your showroom.
I've heard about The Cozy.
It was pretty rad, man. It was like full on like 1960s Playboy bar.
That's awesome.
It was just super cool, really tight and small, cool music. Oh, and AJ's, which I don't even think AJ's is there anymore. But and man, like where where like Ralston's is, that used to just be this fucking like shell of a building, and there'd be like bums just like passed out in there drunk in the morning. And so it's so weird to like drive, especially like down Mass Ave or, you know, Fountain Square, and just see like all of these old places. And what was cool when I first moved here was there were like people who were like from like the World War II, like kind of mid-century heyday, and they were like kind of like, you know, on their twilight years or whatever. But man, I would end up like going into bars and just like chatting up these old dudes, and they would tell me fucking crazy stories, like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, Indianapolis, it used to be this like really swinging town. Like so much cool shit went on here. There was like a great music scene. Like the TV programming was really cool. Like Francis Farmer had a TV show here. Like all the shit with like Sammy Terry and Cowboy Bob and stuff. Like that was awesome. And then it just kind of, it fell off, man. And now it's great because it's coming back. It's like there's young people here. They're like, people really have like a sense of like civic pride. Yeah. And it really makes me happy to see that. So when you were younger and you were moving around, was there ever like any other place that you connected with?
Not really. I mean, it was really cool. I guess like, you know, when you're like a normal kid, and like, you know, I guess normal Hoosier kid, and you go to college to like find yourself, you know, and like figure out what this world's all about. Like I did that in some fucking blue collar, like working ass towns, you know. So I like connected with Peoria quite a bit in South Dakota, but in different elements, you know, in different times of my life. And I think South Dakota was super rad because, like, it's not a very diverse place. I guess, like, you know, the diversity there are all, you know, Native Americans. And to learn about that Native culture was something that I, like, still am jazzed about, you know?
Right.
But it's a totally different type because, you know, I was just out in the Southwest, and that was my first time out there, and like just a few months ago, and I learned about, you know, the Navajo and like Zuni culture, but like they don't even know about like the Sioux. Like I was talking to them about it, and they're like, "Yeah, we have no idea about that," and I'm like, "It's totally 100% different." Yeah. So that was super cool. But I guess, you know, your progression from like adolescence to like just a fucking gnarly like kid of a 21-year-old, and then I guess finding adulthood and the most connected I've been to a place, which I would have never thought would be right here back home.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, man. I always thought I would move away. Like I always thought I would move away. Like you know, when you're like a teenager and you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and it's like, and you don't really have a proper conception of like how to do things. Like, is that economically viable? Is it feasible to do that? You're just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. And it's weird because you find a way, you know. But if life happens, that like makes you kind of makes your decisions for you. That's kind of what happened to me. And I went through this period where like most of my friends moved away after college or in their 20s. And then in my 30s, they all kind of started coming back. And it was this sort of like the same thing. It was just like, oh yeah, this is actually a pretty cool place, you know? And it's funny, man, because when you travel, you don't realize how cool Indianapolis is. You like go to, I really like Arizona. Like I could probably live in Arizona.
I loved it there.
Like
dude.
Flagstaff,
yeah.
Sedona, like that whole mountain area is fucking rad as shit. Like the fucking museum club in Flagstaff is like one of the best places I've ever been in my life. It's just so fucking awesome on every level. And I love LA. I hate the traffic. I hate how douchebaggy it is, but I love it at the same time. I love all the history and like the creative environment, but just with like having kids and stuff, like I don't know that it would be feasible.
Yeah.
You know.
I travel all the time. Like, I guess this year I've traveled a lot, for work, which I'm finally able to do that, which is rad. But you like see the same brands at multiple like trade shows and shit, and everyone always asks me, like, number one question, whether I'm out in LA, whether I'm out in New York, they always ask me like, what the fuck are you doing in Indiana? Everyone's like blown away. It's like they never know that this Indiana boy is doing shit like to show, And I always say like, which is a problem here now is like, you think that by moving to LA or moving to New York that, then you'll make it, where it's like, fuck that. I don't want to move to a scene that's already created and have to fight my way through it when I can just put in a little bit of fucking elbow grease, help others that I think are doing rad ideas here and just do it myself. Yeah. And I like hold that so true now, Right. There's been so many opportunities to move. I would never.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always, like when I do shit like on Instagram and stuff, with like that little straight out of Indiana thing I've been doing lately, there's a lot of people that are genuinely surprised at how much cool shit happened in Indianapolis.
100%.
And they're just like, I didn't know, Jim Jones was from Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah.
His first church was in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. He's all over this fucking place. But it's funny too, man, because like I don't know, like I've said this a couple times, but like when I've gone to like Austin to hang out, I'm just like, it's okay,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more music,
but it's just a bunch of fucking pretentious ass people like us. It's not like down home people like us. It's people that are like, do things because it looks cool, not because they enjoy doing it.
Right.
Like I know so many people out there that fucking ride bikes, but they don't really enjoy to ride bikes. They don't really enjoy to, work on their bikes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing I like really about Indianapolis is that there really is this legacy of like innovation, especially with like automotive stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so people here are really starting to rediscover that and embrace it again, and I think that's rad.
Yeah. If you know the Circle City Industrial Complex on the corner of like where Mass and East End.
Yeah.
So that used to be when I was like looking for a new spot. I went and toured that, and they had these rooms that have like steel doors to close, and I'm like, why does this place look like a Saw movie? Like it's ridiculous. And they're like, well, GM used to like blow up their engines in these rooms. It's like, the very first Indy car was built like literally at CCIC. Most people don't realize that,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's all kinds of weird stuff. I used to have this buddy, and his dad basically invented like midget racing, and he had a farm in Anaheim, California, and he sold it to Disney World or Disneyland, and that's where his dad's farm was.
Damn.
So that was the site of like the first midget race car track. Anyway, he made enough money off of that he could get into IndyCar racing, so they moved to Indianapolis. And he knew a lot of the like old timers that were like old timers, so like early Indy 500. So man, I would go like riding around with him, and he would just show me, he's like, that was where this was, and like I guess across the street from like the bus company, like the bus company was the Duesenberg factory.
Yeah.
Like Henry Ford had like a fucking garage where he built race cars. That was like where he built like cars for Indy.
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like crazy shit like that, like you don't realize unless you just actually go out and talk to people. Yeah. It's cool stuff, man.
No, totally.
So what was the retailer that you worked for? You don't have to tell me the brand, but like what was the product?
It's I'll say it was a mall-based skate shop. It was one of those, and you know what? It was a lot of like local skate shops absolutely fucking hated us. And as you know, my industry now, I completely understand why. But you know what? They did it's all fucking brainwashing kids to work for them for fucking cheap. I think, like literally, I was like 18 and I got my first store and I made $27,000, and I'm like, hell yeah! But that's nothing, you know. So, but it was really cool because they like gave you so much responsibility, and they really taught you to like, you know, have your shop be your shop and do whatever you want, and it was rad. It was cool. It was a good experience for me.
Yeah, yeah. And so, were you involved heavily in skating before that?
More snowboarding. I worked at a snow shop on off 69. I don't even know if they're still open. Skier's Edge. Okay. And yeah, but I mean, I was a kid. I think it always progresses from like skating to like riding fixed gears and then riding motorcycles. You know, like that's the progression. Yeah. So it was just that time. I was a 16-year-old kid, so it was weird, you know, working with them, you know, until I was like 24. So it was a long time. Yeah. And then I saw like it's all fucking brainwashing. It's all like just all about the money for them, and I had to get out. So yeah, some of that marketing they do for places like that is pretty brutal, man. Like my daughter's 13, and like, I mean, she's awesome. You're probably thinking now, like, of course I would have a daughter, and then now is like the bad time where you're like, shit, she's a teenager.
I know. I mean, I worry about it for sure. But, you know, like, she's at that age where she wants to go to the mall. Yeah. So I'll take her, you know. Yeah. But every so often I'll go into one of those, like, I don't know, like the footwear, like the corporate footwear place, the cool corporate footwear place. Or, you know, like the punk rock goth store.
God, love that.
And, I do too. But it's just like there's some like 16-year-old kid like trying to like push like t-shirts and accessories on me. And I'm like, man, come on. Come on, look at me. Yeah. You think I don't know about that shit, dude? Yeah. Come on. Come on. I wasn't born yesterday. I was born a long time ago. But yeah, it's a real... I don't know, man. Retail's hard. So, but that gave you a pretty good grounding to like start your own business.
Yeah, and like I have this. I was incredibly, you know, good at it. I moved up super quick, and what I gained from it was more or less like, you know, consumer buying trends and like what people need. And you know, I think that, you know, with that being a huge background of mine, it's made me successful in selling straight to consumer, you know. Right. So definitely, you know, was kind of a backbone for, I don't know, I kind of fell into what I do, you know. So like it was a positive, but, you know, unseen.
Right. So what got you into doing leather work?
You know, I like to tell people a real long story, and I'll tell it. But really, I started taking my Adderall again. No, I was in the mall of all fucking places, and I'm at one of those like trendy lady shops, and I see this leather tote, and it was like super shitty, and there's like seams busting apart, and I saw the price tag, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. There's no way that you can charge this for this, you know, piece of shit. And, you know, I went home and I was like, you know, I can make that. And I went around to every thrift store that I could find, like leather trench coats. And I, you know, cut them all up. And I, you know, most fucking, nowadays everyone's crafty, you know, and they watch all like the YouTube videos and shit like that. But I went to this old leather shop that's right down the street from here. It's been open for like 125 years, and I bought old Al Stolman books from the 1970s. And I still have all of them that, you know, just teaches you how to do different things. And I just like was fucking obsessed. So I'm in my basement and I'm stitching with like literally garment weight leather, which is just, garbage. But I'm like learning, different weights of leather, different techniques, different types of leather. And I remember like one thing, very specifically is I was on my basement floor. It's concrete floor, and I had my straight edge, and I was cutting towards myself, which you usually never supposed to do. And I had my fingertips on the square, and I pull a line, and I cut off my 3 fingertips, just cut them all off. And I was like, fuck. So that's like, it was kind of like it was so trial and error, because like I had fun doing it. I started in October of 2014, and the idea to start a company, I never was like, I'm going to fucking start stitching leather, I'm going to start this company, and it was never that way, which, it seems to be the trend now. But, I got more people that wanted, to buy shit. And in January of 2015, I, started doing it as like a business, which was incredibly fast. And I quit my full-time job in April of 2015. And, I'm incredibly thankful for like my customers specifically, because some of those old fucking bags I have out there are just gnarly, because I was just learning, and it was a crazy progression to what it is now, and it's leatherwork's so easy. Everyone's like, oh, it's so hard. It's just repetition. That's all it is. So but doing it, I just did it over and over and over. I would work.
Right.
I'd work at my job from 8 in the morning to 4 o'clock, and then I'd come home and have like a bite to eat, and then at like 5 to like 3 in the morning I was teaching myself, and it was gnarly. And then I've got this mantra where I'm super fucking young, and I get, in my industry, there's a bunch of like people that are, older than I am, but it's like, I'd much rather, fucking bust my ass now,
right?
Not hang out at the garage as much, not go to the bars as much, so that while, when I'm, 45, I can fucking hang out, Yeah. That's just kind of my work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of have to be that way, man. I mean, because I don't know. I was talking to I got a buddy from college, and he lives in Korea. And about
North or south?
Huh?
North or south?
South.
Okay, that's
south.
a good one, right?
Yeah. But he about twice a year, I'll get some like weird call. Like it's always either like a Northern Indiana or Chicago phone number, and I'll get some like weird number, and it'll be like called me like 10 times in a row, and I'm like, Gus is back. So he goes and buys like a burner phone or whatever. So we're like hanging out. It was a couple months ago, I guess, and I was just like talking to him, and I can't remember what the context was, but it was something like, I don't know, something or other. I was just like, yeah, I'm at the age where I just want to have fun. And he's like, well, you fucking earned it, dude. You've been a father for like 23 years. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. So yeah, man, I mean, you kind of, when you're younger, you just have to like work.
I mean, and what's so fucked up is like, my generation is mindless about that, dude. It's fucking crazy. It's like everyone expects, because they have this fucking piece of paper and no experience, that they're gonna get this fucking bang-a-rang job. And it's like, you know what? You gotta fucking take it from the man a little bit until you can figure it out. And it's work ethic now. It's terrible. It's like literally I watch it every single day, and people always ask me, like, I get all the time, oh, I have this idea to start a business, and my eyes instantly roll, because it's like, no, we don't need another fucking t-shirt company. I know it's super easy. Go out and get a fucking job.
Yeah.
No, it's working.
I agree, man. And I mean, when I didn't have my first Harley until I was in my 30s. because I was in college, or I was a dad, or I was just fucking like, getting my, hands dirty, like, trying to like get into like a line of work. And, I mean, you could get a Sportster for like $1,500 if you really, fucking, try.
Yeah.
But, back when I had like a fucking kid and a mortgage and a wife and shit, I'm just like, when am I going to have $1,500 at one time,
It's a lot of groceries.
Yeah, it's a lot of groceries. So, I mean, if it's just like a lot of times when I'm like on Instagram, I get a little like jealous of people.
Totally.
Like, like Cody went to fucking New Zealand. I'm like,
yeah,
Cody just went to Iceland.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, good for him, dude.
Totally.
He fucking works his ass
Absolutely.
off, and he fucking deserves it. Like Christian, I was talking to him the other night, and he was telling me like how much money he saved, and I'm like, dude, go fucking take a trip somewhere.
Yeah.
Get your passport.
Yeah.
Go to Europe. Go to fucking Japan. I was like, you have plenty of money to do that. And he's like, yeah, I guess I do. And I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking do it now.
I didn't do anything. My second year in business, I was nose to the ground, refining everything that I did. Did not reach out to any wholesalers. Did not do fucking a goddamn thing. Like literally worked nonstop. Mm-hmm. And I had this incredible opportunity to show at Men's Market in New York, and then do this Joshua Tree tour that I did, and I was on the road for like 30 days, and it was ridiculous. And last week I got this phone call from my buddy Asher, who owns Grifter Gloves. And he's like, yo, dude, do you want to go to Berlin? And I'm like, yes. Yes. So we're doing this trade show out in Berlin. And I'm jazzed about it. Because when I went to New York, I was like, all right, all I want are retailers in the States. And then, like, I want to meet as many, like, Japanese, consultants as I can. Because they don't send like, the shop owners here. They send, like, these fucking consultants that you work with. So by being in Berlin, I've never thought about distributing internationally except Japan. That's the only spot where I want to be. Partly because I get to write off that travel as a business expense.
Yeah, it's super cool, man. One of my buddies in Australia, he went on tour with, I think, NoFX.
Yeah.
They did like 2 weeks around Japan, and it just, and it's Japan's not very big. I mean,
no.
It's about the size of California, like from top to bottom, but it's real narrow. It's not, So you can do like a pretty intense tour of Japan in 2 weeks, 10 days. But they would have like so much. It's not like being in the States where like you're driving 5 or 6 hours between gigs. It's like you might drive or take the train for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
And so it's like a real short hop. And so he would have all this like time, and he started going to just like Japanese flea markets.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
And it was insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like he found like all this like crazy candy and like all of this like bizarre Nintendo stuff that like nobody's ever seen, and just like random stuff. Like it's such a cool place. Like I don't know. It's always,
and they like, I don't know. It's just. It's crazy to think of the history of the relationship between the United States and Japan, because like now I think that it's very hand in hand of a lot of like individuals, like culture and goals and what they want to do. Uh-huh. Japanese people are incredibly hardworking, just as Americans are. Right. And we collaborate on so many things in my industry, at least. Like denim and leather, and there's been so many rad collaborations between a lot of Japanese brands and American brands, because I think we have the same vision of what well quality, well built goods are. Yeah,
man. I met this dude. The first Born Free I went to was 3, and I met this guy Akira who has West Ride.
Yeah, and
he just has the most awesome shit, dude. Like I got one of his catalogs, and I would just like sit and like look at it. Because just all the leather shit in it was perfect.
Yeah.
All the jeans were perfect. All the boots were perfect. And the wallets, just everything, were just absolutely killing it. And he had these jeans. They were called like the rider's jeans. So they were like a low-rise, narrow leg selvage jean. At the time, nobody in the States was making them.
Yeah.
I really wanted a pair, and they were like 3,000 yen, so like $300.
Yeah.
He wouldn't sell them to me, dude.
Damn.
And they even made them in my size.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no. Like, would not sell them in the States. Like, I mean, I have some of his t-shirts.
Yeah.
But like, the really cool shit, like that just stays
That's
in
awesome,
Japan.
you know? And but a lot of brands here do the exact same shit where it's like, now you can't, get it. It's only going to be here.
Right.
Which I like, I like that people hold near and dear what, they make. I don't follow anybody on Instagram that does leather work because I don't want to like bog myself down and like try to be better than somebody else.
Right.
Just I just learned this, I'm only 2 years in, so I don't want to think that I have to be like, do this or that or that. I've got my patterns down and kind of keep my head down.
So, what attracted you to leatherwork in the first place, aside from just seeing like the shitty products?
No clue. It's so fucking weird, dude. It's so weird. Like, I wish I had this like long history, but there's absolutely nothing. When I like the little stint that I did in college, I was like, I had just gotten off. Before in between high school and college, I did an internship in DC with the senator, and I went to college and wanted to do poli-sci, and then I took like a little bit of a design course, and I've always been into the arts, and I think that I dropped that once I left college. And I think that when you have that like creativity, you've always had that, and you go a really long time without it, it never goes away, but it just comes back as this like resurgence. And I think that's what happened because I reflect back on why it's so weird, why leather,
Right.
And we actually just switched. Well, not really switched. 90% of our stuff is still hand stitched, and I'm starting to get into this whole like machine thing. And it's like this whole other side to like leatherworking. So I have no clue. It's weird. It's super weird. Yeah.
It's got, the thing I always liked about leather is just like it has like a certain feel and like a smell. It's just like such a funny material.
And there's so many different kinds. It's not like denim where, you have like, American made out of cone mills or like, some Japanese selvage. There's so many different weights, tanning processes to leather. And I think that initially, after doing it for a little while is what kept it going for me, and like, I'm still obsessed with it, like I'm fortunate enough to get, the 3 colors that we offer tanned for us in Maine. But, so I'll order about 800 pounds of leather every 2-3 months. But I'll still buy those off hides that I find that, I love and just put them in the shop for sale because I'm still like obsessed with the different types of leather out there. And also like different things that I can do.
Right.
Just because, it's always a learning thing, Right. But it's much like I, gave a couple, which is so weird that people ask me to fucking, talk to their classes. But my high school fucking called me and I was like,
great.
I was like, you guys almost fucking kicked me out of here. Now y'all want me to, give a speech. But no, I was like, chatting with them and these kids, and it's what I do is no different than any fucking manufacturing job, whether it's welding or doing concrete or anything, plumbing. What it is to me is I think that through leatherworking I've like fallen in love with domestic manufacturing, and it's all the fucking same. We all have the end goal. We want to produce here, for individuals that want quality work done.
Right.
And I think that is been my new focus.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, it seems like anything, like anybody that I know that's like actually building stuff it's just so like process oriented.
Totally.
You know, there's like, you got your pattern, you got your prototypes, you got your fucking materials, and you like have to A/B test shit and like, does this work?
I did none of that. I still fucking secret. I still cut out everything with my right angle. Yeah. I don't have any fucking patterns.
What?
Yeah, I have all my measurements in my head. Like, dead serious. We have patterns made that a buddy of mine made, but they're in, like, Noblesville, and I don't want to drive up there and get it.
God.
Like, it's still all done that way.
Yeah, so these bags here on the counter, they're all just a little bit different? Or?
Well, all the measurements are the same, but yeah, there's little quirky things that might be a little bit different, but, like, if you, once they're all completed, you'll line them all up, and they look the exact same.
Yeah.
Which I love, you know.
Right.
Now, by these trips that we went on, we added like 25 new retailers.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So we're actually, like where we're sitting is production's going to move up all the way to here. And I actually ordered like a 20-ton clicker press and 4 new machines, which I've always been like against like clicking out like leather pattern, like clicking them out one by one. Just because I think that that's not handcrafted. I think that term has been fucking loosely given. But, you know, at this time, it's something that I love, that people love our products, and I need to get them out a little bit quicker. So, you know, we still hold near and dear that hand-stitched part. Yeah, it's all done that way. So right now, we're sending out over 250 bags by the end of this month. Yeah.
All hand stitched.
Majority. Any inside seam backpacks, totes, things like that are done on a machine. They're finished by hand. But yeah, I can knock out. There's 5 large messengers I'll knock out today.
Wow.
Yeah.
God. So 5 a day.
Yeah.
And you got to have 250.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been pretty wild. I have an apprentice now.
Yeah.
And she's been with me pretty much since the start, and she helps tremendously.
Yeah.
And then we're working on a project that I've been working on literally from the beginning. When I started, like when I decided, all right, I'm gonna do this as a job.
Right.
I knew that I'd either need to outsource or hire labor. So the idea, and we've already gotten, you know, all the tools set up for it, but the goal is we're going to be teaching 10 to 15 disabled veterans, all that have PTSD, how to stitch leather. It's one of the 3 art forms that combat PTSD because it's a very process-oriented structure thing. And then eventually, all of our small goods, wallets, everything like that will be stitched by a disabled vet. When a consumer gets their product, it'll come with a dog tag with the veteran's name, branch military, and years served, and then they can log on the website and read more and see their photo.
That's right.
So I always knew that I had to hire people. So,
right.
You know, to find that out, and to, you know, my dad's a vet, and it's a ginormous problem here. Yeah. So I've been working with Mayor Hogstead's office on the project, and
it's great.
But now it's, you know, producing all of our goods, you know, first, and then, you know, getting them in here, because my time is very, very limited to, you know, reach out to all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And this is, you're going into your 3rd year.
3rd year, yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, it's been pretty gnarly. And we actually, it's funny, when I was in New York, I was with my East Coast rep, and Ron's he's great. He's this survivalist dude that has like, he's got like waterproof matches on him whenever. He lives on a like 21 acre piece of property in Vermont in a yurt that he built. And this dude's like crazy. But they put us right next to the beer cooler, right? And we're at like this like fashion show thing, and everyone's pretentious as fuck. And we're like, we crack open beers at 10 a.m. and we're like, we're down to fucking cash some checks, you know? Like, so that's how I kind of tackle it. So it's been kind of wild, and it's worked, you know?
Yeah.
To be myself over trying to like, I don't know, weasel my way into this industry.
Yeah, fucking go big or go home, dude.
Yeah.
For sure. So how'd you get into motorcycles, man?
My dad had a Husqvarna 900 when I was growing up, and I've got this photo of me next to it.
Is that a dirt bike?
Yeah, this thing was gnarly. And that day was when I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. And then, my dad, had kids and didn't have a bike for a long time and never allowed me, because, you're a parent, it's tough to let your kid just hop on a fucking enduro and, take off. But when I, left, I, rode dirt bikes with my buds out in Illinois and out in South Dakota, and then when I moved here, I bought my Sportster and kind of got into that. I'm a noob when it comes to the scene here, but I've never been in a spot long enough to be part of it.
Right.
It's crazy because my bud out in Illinois, built his bike just off of like fucking Chop Colt, and I was super proud of him because there's a fucking bagger scene only in Illinois. Like there's no good scene, except like Bravetown up in Chicago. But
right.
And he comes here and he's like, dude, I fucking am so jealous because there's so many people that are, building bikes and doing cool shit here.
Yeah.
So I think it was really the Indianapolis area that really got me into building shit.
Yeah. Now, do you have your bike up at the Hole in the Sky garage?
No,
it's got it at your place.
Yeah, I bought my house and I have a garage, and I already paid for this joint, so I didn't want to have to pay for another joint,
Yeah.
But all those dudes are my good buds.
Yeah.
And they're great.
Yeah, they are all awesome. Yeah, I had my Hole in the Sky shirt on for work today.
Yeah.
I think that we got an extra large. Nobody's an extra large.
I don't even have a fucking Hole in the Sky shirt.
You don't have one?
No.
Yeah. They had like one extra large. They were like, "You're kind of fat. Here you go." Yeah. So I wear it.
No, they're all good dudes.
Yeah, they're rad. Yeah, man. Yeah, you got a good fucking spot here, dude.
Thank you. I like it.
I had looked at this building. So when I was living on Mass, my roommate, his name was Rob, and I think we were paying, this would have been like 1991, 92. I think we were paying like $350 for a one-bedroom apartment. So like two dudes in a one-bedroom apartment. And so if you like bring a girl home, it's like a little weird. And so we're like, well, we got to find like a bigger place. So we looked at this building, and I think, and there's like 3 floors here, right?
Yeah. There's apartments on the second one, and then in upstairs guy apartment, which he actually went to high school with me, which is weird. Uh-huh. He's got an entrance into the attic, which I've not been up there yet. But
right.
Yeah.
I think this whole building rented for like $600.
You don't even want to know what I pay now.
A lot more.
Cheap as shit.
Cheap as shit?
Yeah, dude.
That's
I was
great.
real fucking sly when I came in because I was on Mass Ave before. Uh-huh. And I knew that this building hadn't been rented in like 3 years.
Yeah.
So I threw out this super fucking low number. And I was like, yo, I'll commit to like 3 years at this super low number. And I can say this because I know fucking Sen's not going to listen to this. I hope not. Uh-huh. But like, yeah, throw out this super low number. And I was like, and then after that 3 years, like we can renegotiate, but I get first say about renewing my lease. So I got it for a steal, man, like super cheap.
Yeah.
Which is rad. But it's also cool because like this corner is like super popular for the arts, or was.
Yeah.
And they come in here, the property owners, and they're blown away. They're like, finally, a lot of people think that I'm all talk, but whenever I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. And right. They came in here and they're like, they hadn't even been here. I've been here for a year. They came in like 2 weeks ago, and they're like, yeah, we didn't think that you were going to. They just thought that I was just some other fucking kid that wants to start a company, and I was all talk, and I was like, no, we like you here.
No, I actually started a company and I've got it going.
Yeah, and on Saturdays I can't even fucking work. It's people.
Just foot traffic?
Oh yeah.
Really?
And you know what? When I moved off the avenue, I had my address on. Oh, actually, I didn't. Like for the first 6 months while I was here, my address was not posted anywhere, and I wanted that because I wanted people to stumble upon it rather than because I had already gotten my name out there in the city by being in a very populated area. So I wanted it to be that allure of just like popping into cool shit, because I think that's what kind of starts that trend, and it slowly started here. Which now we put our address on shit, but we're busier than we were on Mass Ave.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy. It's all the fucking people from Hamilton County that want to be like trendy and go to the bad parts of Indy, I think one thing about this place and places like this, and there's a couple other spots like this around Indy. Like I was talking to somebody not too long ago, but there used to be this lady in fucking Speedway, and I think her name was like Mean Maxine or something, but she made showgirl costumes. Damn, that's cool.
And like Vegas showgirls. Yeah. And like that was her full-time job. Like she made, like my ex-wife, she made her like a Playboy Bunny outfit. Yeah. Like she wanted to go as a Playboy Bunny one year. So she made her like a Playboy Bunny outfit. And like price is okay, but like that's all she does.
Yeah.
And she's just some like obscure shop in Speedway. Awesome. And man, there's dozens of places like this.
Oh yeah.
And if you know, you know.
Totally.
And that's what makes it cool.
Yeah. And with this space, I wanted to run a little retail out of it, and we did that, last year, but I'm like super stoked on some new like shit we have coming in here. Like locals, buddy of mine that's doing some made to order tables that are going to be our display tables, but this fucking girl comes up to me while I was at Keystone Mall, and she knew my fiance, but she says to me like, I want to start a business, and usually like my eyes roll, but then she said that she is like this like second generation turquoise and silver dealer.
Oh yeah. And
my eyes fucking light up. I'm like, whatever you fucking need, I'm here.
Right.
So it's called Fallen Sky Turquoise, and she's we're gonna be the exclusive dealer of her shit, and she's got like hundreds of fucking Zuni and Navajo rings, like bracelets, bolos, keeps that we're going to be doing the bolo ties for. It's like ridiculous. So we're going to do a First Friday event around her, and then a buddy of mine that like makes the most killer pottery in upstate New York. So I wanted this to be more of like a, I don't know, like well-crafted little spot with not too much,
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like in your face. We've got all this shit, I want the items to speak for themselves,
Yeah. I think that's what makes like a good store. It's that curated aspect to
totally,
it.
Yeah.
And if you know it when you go into a place. Like you walk into a place and you're just like, oh yeah, like this is like it's like a perfect mixtape of a store.
Yeah.
It's just like everything is exactly in the right place, and it's hard to capture that, dude.
Totally.
I mean, it's most people that try fail because they're trying.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something, especially in Indianapolis, it's fairly rare.
Yeah. My buddy, we've been trying to get in this shop since I started. It's my favorite store. It's in Chicago, called Mild Blend Supply. It's in Wicker Park, and Luke is this Japanese guy that just curates the most rad like denim and leather collections. And like people like denim companies do like lines for him. Like his shop is amazing. It is not merchandise whatsoever. It's the coolest fucking place to go because there's denim on denim and on denim, and it's just like it's made for how dudes shop. It's like piles of jeans and tons of like leather bags, and it's just like he doesn't even need to do that. He just lets all the products speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Which works for him.
Right.
Some folks that wouldn't really work for, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of this has kind of been my little sanctuary away from my house that I can, I don't know, kind of call my own.
Yeah.
I'm here more than I'm at home anyways.
Yeah, well, you have to be comfortable where you're working.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure. Right on. Well, you got anything coming up for the shop?
Yeah, we're launching Moto in a couple weeks.
What's that?
A full line of Moto shit. So we've got a sissy bar bag coming out, tool bags, tool rolls, solo bags,
Tight.
which is something I've been wanting to do for a long time that
Yeah.
we're finally doing.
Yeah.
Which I'm stoked for.
That's rad, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna start making like boots or anything like that.
Fuck
jackets?
that. Everyone always says that. No, dude, there ain't no money in that. You're putting in too much work for, yeah. I'd make it for myself, but that's probably it.
Yeah, man. I follow a couple people that make boots and stuff on Instagram, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, me neither, and I work with leather every day.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks for talking to me.
Thanks, brother.
All right, that was my conversation with Christian Resiak of Howl and Hide Supply. You can keep up with Christian on his Instagram, and that is Howl and Hide Supply, and that's all one long word. You can also check out his website. That's howlandhidesupply.com, where you can get information about purchasing his bags and accessories. He also has a retail shop, and that is located at 1656 English Avenue in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's just a couple blocks south of Washington Street on State, and you'll notice it by the 3-story red brick building. If you guys have a chance and you want to support the show, please consider buying a t-shirt or making a contribution to our Patreon. You can become a monthly subscription holder, or you can purchase an annual subscription. And if you purchase an annual subscription, you'll get a free t-shirt, and any subscriber gets 20% off in our Big Cartel store. If you don't have any money and you want to support the show, tell a friend, post a link on Facebook, repost stuff on Instagram, or feel free to send the links to your friends if they are creative gearheads and they would enjoy this kind of content. You can also leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher, and that helps us move up in the ratings, and it also helps other people find this kind of content. Anything coming up? No, not really. Just kind of really excited about spring finally being here. I got a couple other parts to get for my motorcycle, and hopefully we'll get that all finished up with the wiring and have it fired here in the next week or two. Basically switching out the motor and the transmission just required a complete rewiring, and because of the dual coil setup, had to buy a few special parts. So as soon as I get that going and rolling around, I'll post a video of that on the blog. Be sure to check out the blog. You can see some pictures of the stuff that Christian and I talked about, as well as interior shots of his shop, as well as some of his bags and stuff. I think that's going to about do it for this episode of Rulers and Riders. As always, we appreciate the feedback. The best way to do that is to give us a follow on Instagram, and that is rulers_and_riders. That's it. And until next time, we'll see you down the road.